Hello, everybody. Welcome to More Than This with DEMARIS. I think I saw the last hat, but here is Presley. This is so much Presley because she just kind of slides off of the couch. She's so precious. Good tattoo artist. So I'm going to stop for a little bit until after Christmas or New Year's, whatever. So, well, today's Thursday. I haven't put on all my gear yet. I'm early. Still got the crud. I've got some antibiotics. I'm going to start in the morning and prednisone because it's not going away. Thanks to all this allergy and change of weather, and we're supposed to get down to close to freezing here the next day or two. So I've got the outdoor kitties some straw in their boxes and get them winterized. Okay, well, my pendulum, it led me astray. But, you know, the bad thing about working with tools is sometimes, I'm going to move you over just a little bit so I can sit more comfortable. There we go. It's kind of hard not to reflect your own feelings through that stuff sometimes. And seeing things. But I did it that night before the count came in, and it was like super, super weak. Brought it out while a friend was here, and it was like barely moving. It was like, yeah. Well, right now it can go either way because I went for Beto, and then I did Abbott, and it just didn't look good. So, yeah, you know, what can you do? I mean, the people voted, and that's the process, and you have to accept it for what it is. Why they voted for Abbott, it was basically they just didn't like Beto. Because they really don't like Abbott either. He's done nothing for us. We're still with a screwed up grid and all the other crap that goes along with having him for a governor. But again, you know, I voted. That's all I could do. I did my part. And so did a lot of other people. So we tried, but the people spoke, and that's the process. It's the process we should respect and allow, and I'm not an election denier by no means. The numbers were far apart. If it had been close, then whatever it is. But they're kind of far apart. I mean, God bless them. So. And it's just not that kid's time to do big stuff. Not yet. And speaking of using the pendulums and being psychic, you know, it's a tricky trade. Anybody who's psychic that's watching this, you know, when you get your info, and you get it and it comes in strong, you know you're getting a good, clear read on stuff. And I've had people ask me, well, if you're psychic, why don't you win the lottery? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work for us like that. It's not meant to. That's not in my... If I'm going to win the lottery, it's going to be because I got a quick pick and it was just my time to win it. If it's in my lifeline, the Akashic records for me to have it at this time, then I will have it at this time. But doesn't work like that. And the same with readings. I've had people sit there and say, well, I had a reading and nothing they said was right. Well, you know what? So have I. And this person was way off. She just couldn't connect to family or anything like that. And I didn't blame her because I really believe she's a legit person. And the thing is, when you're psychic, and you're reading somebody, I think one of the things that makes people most nervous is nobody's going to come and talk. And I've had that happen. or a couple will, or they don't have a whole lot to say. And what I end up doing is when you're having a conversation with that person, and as they're speaking about their life, then their people will start coming in and saying that they'll make little comments. So instead of just sitting there giving them some mind-blowing reading, their people are like, okay, now we're sitting on the couch and all chit-chatting and I can handle this. I've had that happen. Thank God, or else it would have been horrible, because it can be stressful if you're like, please come and talk to this person. Please come and talk. And then there's times that they want to come and talk to you that's just not an appropriate time. And I had to learn how to quell that situation a little bit. And that was when it came back strong when I was 35. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Ooh, it hit me like a ton of bricks. To kind of take you back, I've been like this. My first experience that I can remember, I was about 3 or 4. And my dad always worked for oil companies and stuff, but he decided to take a little break and then become an owner of a trucking company of hauling oil. So he was in his big garage out welding something up, and they had one of those Volkswagen trucks. I don't know if y'all remember. It has like no front end, and then it had a cab, and then it was a truck bed on the back. And there was a pane of glass that was setting up on this side of this truck bed. And for some reason, I took my parents' little Chihuahua dog with me out to go sit in the back of this truck, VW. And I'm sitting on one side, and the dog walks under that pane of glass. And again, I'm about 4. I'll say 4. And I just had this vision. That glass is fixing to fall on that dog. Get the dog, get the dog. And I was just petrified. I couldn't move. And sure as heck, that glass fell on that dog's head and knocked it out. And so I go screaming at my dad. And I'm running to the house as I'm screaming for Dad. And he's running after me. And when we get to the house, he takes the dog out. He's getting on to me for having the dog. And he's got a cold compress on the dog's head, because they got a little soft spot up there. And I'm like, oh man, the last thing I wanted to do is kill an animal, or more so, not more so, but the other last thing I wanted was him yelling at me, because my dad could sit there and make you feel like this big just by talking. And he brought the dog too and everything, but I never did take the dog out with me after that one. And then I would have premonition dreams, and then later on, about 6, 7, and I would have little things happen throughout that time. And then when I was about 6 years old, they started coming back real hot and heavy, and I would tell my sister stuff, and she really couldn't do much about it, but I wish she could have. It would have saved us some heartache of enduring some bad times with when my dad treated my mom. And then my mom left my dad, and things kind of settled down. I'd have weird things happen throughout my life, and I was really interested in the more spiritual side than I was religious side, because I wasn't at all interested in religion. It did not. I used to go to church all the time with my best friend, whose dad was a preacher, and I just nothing clicked. It just didn't resonate with me. The Bible didn't resonate with me. I read it. I tried to understand it. Somebody else would sit there and tell a different version of what I read, and it just didn't click. I just knew there was something else. I knew there was something else, a different way of knowing, and so I started on my own path of spirituality and trying to figure all this mess out. And through the spiritual stuff, you experience a lot of things too that kind of go, okay, I'm understanding. And then you learn more, and you learn how to really take over your life and control the fact that you can do stuff with it. Positive thinking. Be careful what you're thinking. And so at 35 years old, why 35? I don't know. I moved to Bandera. And I couldn't walk into a bar or a restaurant or anywhere without these voices yelling at me, talk to them, talk to them, talk to them. And I'd be like, I can't, you need to quit. And finally I got them to where they would quit. And one time I did walk up to this woman and I said, I have a message from your father, would you like to hear it? And she's like, I guess. And so I delivered the message, and then she got freaked out, and okay, well that wasn't cool. But I did learn to start asking permission, and from there it just got better and better. Um, I've had times when I I had this one instance where I was in a bar and there was a gentleman sitting at this table watching a football game, and every time I'd go to the restroom, I just got a weird feeling about what was going on with him. I mean, it was just like, I need to talk to him. And I guess probably about an hour and a half or so went by, and he had changed tables, and I'm just not feeling something real good about what's going on with this fella. And I'm not saying he was a bad guy, by no means. But I walked up to him and I said, I'm Damaris. I said, do you mind if I deliver a message from somebody from the other side? And he looks at me and he goes, no. And I said, you're in the military? He goes, yeah. And I said, your friend George? He's saying, buddy, it's okay. I'm good. You saved me. You did everything you could. I mean, this guy's face, he just started bawling. And so his friend George explained what had happened and the process of what got this man to that day. And he was going through some major PTSD, and my spirit guides and angels and George, through me, saved that guy's life that day because he was not in a good space. And afterwards, he got up and gave me a big old hug and bought me a beer, and he's like, you saved my life. And it's like, it wasn't me, babe. It was your buddy George. you you tried to save his, and he was going to save yours. And you have things like that, and then you'll have somebody who pays you to read. And for some reason, I don't know why paid readers are the ones that this other people go. Sometimes it just comes right out, and I get the people I want and they want, and the message across. And there's times where, thank God, through conversations they will show up, or I'll get messages from my guides and angels about a health situation. You need to look out for this. You're gonna have a job change, or you're gonna get a promotion, or something like that will come out in the read, which is pretty cool. It may not be their loved ones, or maybe not be grandma or something, right? Their dog will show up, or their horse or something. So you never know. It's not for me, I'm still, I think I'm still a baby in this process. But it can be tricky sometimes. If you go pay yourself a reader, and I do, I hire out. But if you pay somebody, try to, one hand, try to ask your loved one to come in and talk. And then on the other hand, be open to whatever the message is. Because sometimes the message isn't the one you think you want to hear, it's the one you need to hear. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about psychics. It's a fun thing. I love having the gift. I've never been afraid of it. I've never wanted to get rid of it. It's never freaked me out. I've had all kind of, I've always had something with me. I've always had ghosts or stuff. In fact, they've been throwing stuff around in the back. I haven't figured that stuff out yet. I'm not sure what they're rearranging. They're probably trying to get me to get back there and finish getting them bedrooms set up the way I want to. But I'll look around to see if the cat's messed up something out on the porch, or I'll go back there and see if maybe a box fell off of something. There's nothing. It's just them back there. They like that part of the house for some reason, and I guess because I don't let them in my bedroom and bathrooms. Like, that's a no zone. You don't come in there and scare me. So, but I hope everybody has something fun planned for Thanksgiving. I've got what I call my orphan friends. We're all orphans. We have no parents, no grandparents or anything. So this year we're going to kind of pitch in and do a little small Thanksgiving and hang out on the party porch. And if there's a football game going on, I'm sure somebody's going to want to watch it. And I imagine there is, and there always, or something. I don't know. I'm not a sports fan, but I don't care because I just enjoy having the company and pulling out the game of sorry and getting pissed off because the game just makes you so angry. We'll do something fun. I'm not worried about it, and I hope y'all do too. I hope you have a lot of beautiful family and friends that show up, and if you're the kind that don't have beautiful family and friends, then sit back and watch the show. I was so fortunate that when I had a family, we'd have aunt and uncle come over, and grandma, grandpa, and then cousins, and then they started having snotty-nosed little disease carriers, and my sister had her little snotty-nosed disease carriers, and then it became like a big family, and I'd always sit at the kids' table. I was always sat at the kids' table. And finally, when I got old enough to sit at the grown-up table, it wasn't fun. I'd rather still sit at the kids' table because I could eat how I wanted to, as much as I wanted to, and I didn't have to listen to those conversations, I guess. I don't know. I love my family, but there was never any drama. And then after everybody would go home, then my sister and whoever she was married to at the moment, and my parents and I would get dressed up and we'd all go out dancing. Because there's always a dance somewhere. We'd go out somewhere and party. I mean, my parents weren't drunks, but they were like partiers, and so still got that in me a little bit. I like to go out and have beers with people, meet people, and socialize like that. And I like to also come home and do nothing. So either way, and I'm sorry. You're talking about psychic work. I'm so grateful I didn't have any psychic work to do in this past 3 weeks, because this whatever I'd had in my head that was so bad, it had totally blocked off my chakra, my third eye. So it's starting to come back now. So I'm getting ready to get back into business. And when I say that, stuff about the lottery, why don't you know the lottery? We do know stuff about ourselves. We know, I get kind of like little messages about someone, or don't do that. So they do help me. My guides and angels, if I'm listening, excuse me, they do direct me, and they do help me out. But you gotta listen to them, and they're always showing me numbers. If it ain't 222, it's 333, 444. I haven't seen fives too often, but they're starting to show up. And of course, I haven't seen 666 on my digitals. That would freak me out, right? Because there is none. I'll say, 666 doesn't freak me out. But if it actually showed up, because that's not how it works, that might be like, okay, I gotta clean up my ways. What else, guys? I don't know. I'm always so in a rush that I just kind of hurry up and spit out the message and then rush off. Um, be careful with your psychics. I did have, I think I told you on one of my other videos where a friend of mine's sister had got a hold of her and was wondering what did I say? A cracked chakra was, or a broken chakra, or something. I can't remember what she called it. And I'm like, I hadn't heard of that. So I looked it up, and immediately the thing that came into my brain was, I texted her back. It's like, how much is this person wanting from your sister? And she said $1,000 to repair it. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. No, no. I gave her, Dr. Gale has a girl called Mary up in South Carolina, I think it is. And she's real reputable and everything. And I said, if it comes to, if meditation, meditation cleansing and stuff, it's not going to work, then here is a legit person. And I don't think I'd do shoveling out no $1,000. Not that, who has it to just sit there and trust somebody that way? If you find a psychic who wants to charge you an exorbitant amount of money, double think it. I'm kind of fresh on the scene, so my prices aren't that high right now. And generally it goes anywhere from, I'd seen it, 50, 60 for a half hour to on up, and then an hour for 100, 120, 150. I've seen it up to $300 for an hour. Those are some pretty good readers. And so I'm not there. So if you want to, any of y'all out there listening, want to have a little chit chat and stuff, get a hold of me. And please, more than anything, if you want me to just read something on here, then please email me at demariswilson444@gmail.com. And please hit that like button, that notification bell, and subscribe to me, because that is going to eventually build me up. And I'm going to get myself together and start doing some better shows. I'm hoping I can meet somebody pretty soon that'll help me get back on, or teach me how to use my Mac. And that way I can make it look a little more professional. And hopefully I'll get my house together where I can move so y'all have a different view. So I'm working on it. I'm working on improving myself. I just don't know what to always talk about. I'll be sitting there and something will kind of come up in my brain. And it's like, well, I'll share that with y'all. And I hope you don't mind. But if you have any ideas or anything, hey man, you ain't hurt my feelings by suggesting stuff. To give me any advice or offer help or whatever, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. I love to talk, and I know a lot about a lot of things. I am not. I haven't taken classes, so I'm not really like into the terminology of things. So that's why I kind of, when I talk about things, I talk about it in kind of a layman's way of understanding. I'm just a simple country woman, and I'm going to speak to y'all in the language I know and understand and at this time. I would love to take classes. I would love to be able to travel and become smarter about this, learn the language. But for now, I'll get my thoughts across the way I know how to get my thoughts across. Yeah, I know. I come off like a weirdo to some people, and if they really got to know me, I'm really not weird. But all of us are weird. Every one of you psychics out there, I can bet you a flat 100 right now that you never felt normal. throughout your whole life, especially when this finally hits you, because we are so different. And anybody can be a psychic. That's not the point. Anybody can. I mean, it just sometimes when you lose it at the age of 6 or 7, you don't ever get it back for whatever reason, because it's either your religion, the way you're taught, insecurities, whatever the case may be. And I didn't care. I didn't care what anybody thought. I mean, I'm already a lesbian on top of being this weird. Now I'm that weird too. So you get to the point where it's like, what the hell, just be you. That's all I know how to be. But, yeah, we're different. We can talk about a lot of different things. You're not going to sit there and just talk about the weather and how the grass needs cut. I mean, we can talk about all kind of weird stuff. It's pretty interesting, I think. Well, I'm weird, so why would I think anything different? But I also like being stupid. In fact, I've got a TikTok where I don't know if y'all have seen this hot chip challenge. And I used to be in law enforcement, and I've been pepper sprayed. And the capsaicins on the pepper sprays that they spray you with will literally melt a styrofoam cup. Well, this chip is about probably half of that, maybe, or yeah, I think we're on half of that. And I've got a friend who'll do anything I ask her to. So one of these nights on TikTok, I'm going to have her do that chip. She agreed to it. I bought it. It comes in like a little coffin-shaped box, which should be a good indicator that it's not going to be well. And so I said, I'll buy you a gallon of milk even. And so she said, no, she wants eggnog. So I'm going to have her do it outside because she gets sick. She can go throw out in the yard or something. Hey, ooh, man, that would hurt too, though. Oof. I don't know, but I think she can do it. So this is the goofy stuff I do. This is my life. I try to make it interesting. I dedicated my life to my job and my family for so long. It's time for me to live a little bit. And it should be time for you to live. Never give up on your own personal time. Loving you, taking care of you, being selfish with you is so important. I learned that one. You got to have that one-on-one time with yourself. And the better person you are, and the more you love yourself, the more loving you are, and the more you're capable of being loving. So, I gotta go. I held y'all up enough, and I'm way ahead. I could sit here and just talk to you for another 20, 30 minutes. So, how y'all doing? How's your mama doing? How's your dogs doing? You got a kitty? Oh, little man. Oh, yeah, little man. This cat is such an adorable little turd. He is... he loves my feet. And so every night we have to play hide and go seek because he goes after my feet. And so I have a little island in the kitchen. And so he chases me. And I let him catch me because you got to do it. And so then I'll hide from him and run. And I noticed he was looking in my refrigerator. I have a dark stainless steel refrigerator. That little turd was sitting there watching my reflection and knew where I would be. So I started going around another part of the house. And one day I was like hiding on one side of this little wall. And I noticed that he was kind of over in this area. And I have a beautiful antique mirrored hat rack up against one of the walls over here. He was sitting there looking at my reflection in that mirror, watching me. He's a cheater. That little booger's a cheater. So then I try to get out of his view, and I'll sneak up because, I got all that Native American blood. I'm light on my feet. So I sneak up on him, and then I go, and he just like falls over and starts wiggling around like it's just so funny. And then, of course, I pet him with my foot and let him bite me, and it makes him feel better. But I know he's laughing when it happens. If you could ever imagine a cat laughing, that's what he's doing. He is laughing so hard. And he makes me laugh. Anyway, little man's doing great. So, I'll have to put a video up here for y'all because he's too funny, and he found his tail. So, you know, it's either my feet or his tail. I, I'm all for the tail. All right, I love you. You gotta go. So, you know, bless you, love you. I will talk to y'all very soon. I promise. Thumbs up, like, share, blah blah blah, and subscribe. And talk to y'all soon. What can I say? You know, you got anything? Damaris Wilson, 444. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Love you. Bye. Oh, me.